The wind howled a mournful dirge, mirroring the tempest raging within Annika's heart. Her small pottery shop, her sanctuary, lay in ruins, ravaged by a flash flood. Years of painstaking work, each delicately crafted piece imbued with her passion, reduced to rubble and mud. Tears streamed down her face, a torrent as relentless as the storm itself. Despair threatened to engulf her. This wasn't just about the loss of possessions, it was the shattering of her dreams. Annika sank to her knees, the cold, damp earth seeping into her clothes. She wanted to scream, to lash out at the unfairness of it all. Why her? Why now? The universe seemed to be mocking her, piling misfortune upon misfortune. Her mind, a swirling vortex of anger and grief, offered no solace. She felt utterly broken, days turned into weeks. Annika remained in a daze, barely eating, barely sleeping. The once vibrant shop, a reflection of her own vivacity, now stood as a grim reminder of her loss. Friends offered help, sympathy, but their words seemed hollow, unable to penetrate the wall of misery she had built around herself. She couldn't bring herself to care. The world had become a bleak, desolate landscape. One day, a traveling monk, his face etched with wisdom and serenity, stopped by the ruins. He didn't offer condolences or empty platitudes. He simply sat beside her, in silence. The quiet presence, devoid of judgment or pity, was strangely comforting. After a long while, the monk spoke, his voice gentle yet firm. "The storm has taken much from you," he said, gesturing to the wreckage. "But it cannot take away your inner peace, unless you allow it." Annika looked at him, her eyes filled with skepticism. "Inner peace? How can I find inner peace when everything I've worked for is gone?" The monk smiled. "The storm is a metaphor for life, Annika. It brings challenges, obstacles, and losses. It tests our resilience and reveals the true nature of our spirit. What matters is not what happens to us, but how we choose to respond." He then shared a motivational story of Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha Motivational Story tells us about a man who was showered with insults. Instead of reacting with anger, Buddha remained calm and composed. His disciples were astonished and asked him how he could remain so unaffected. Buddha explained that the insults were like gifts offered to him. If he chose not to accept them, they would remain with the giver. He chose the power of not reacting. Annika listened intently, captivated by the simplicity and profoundness of the story. The monk continued, "How to control your emotions is not about suppressing them, but understanding them. It's about recognizing the triggers that lead to anger, fear, or sadness, and how to not react emotionally to them impulsively. It's about controlling your emotions, not being controlled by them." He further narrated a Buddha story in English about a farmer whose crops were destroyed by a storm. Instead of succumbing to despair, the farmer focused on replanting, learning from the experience, and developing more resilient farming techniques. This motivational story in English illustrated the importance of adaptability and the ability to find opportunity in adversity. Stop reacting impulsively, stop overreacting, and learn to control your mind, the monk advised. This is how to master your emotions. It's not about how to be emotionless, but about cultivating emotional intelligence. It's about understanding the nature of emotions and choosing your responses wisely. This is the essence of controlling your emotions. It's about how to control your emotions and find inner peace amidst the storms of life. The monk's words were like a balm to Annika's wounded soul. She realized that she had been so consumed by her grief that she had forgotten her own strength, her own resilience. She had allowed the storm to define her, to break her spirit. But the monk's wisdom insights, shared through these inspirational stories and the motivational success stories of Buddha, had ignited a spark of hope within her. She began to see the ruins not as a symbol of loss, but as an opportunity for renewal. She would rebuild her shop, brick by brick, stronger and better than before. She would learn from this experience, embrace the challenges, and emerge from the ashes like a phoenix. She understood that the other side of storms in life is not destruction, but growth. It is the forging of character, the discovery of inner strength, and the realization of the power of not reacting. Annika still felt sadness for her loss, but it no longer consumed her. She had learned how to control her emotions, not by suppressing them, but by understanding them, accepting them, and choosing how to respond to them. She had learned the true meaning of resilience, the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity. And she knew, deep within her heart, that she would not only rebuild her shop, but also rebuild her life, stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. The storm had passed, leaving behind not destruction, but the seeds of a new beginning.